welcome. Good evening to our super immunity for raising healthy children. And we are glad that last Saturday we actually had this session on super immunity for part one, where we had a very brief, a very wide understanding of what it takes for us to raise super immunity children. And for the first 5 minutes, I'm just going to run through a recap of what we have gone through. And this wise saying says this: let food be your medicine and medicine your food. It is really a wise saying. How do we then let food be our medicine? And this is a journey that myself and my family has walked over the last 14 years. And we are glad that we can testify that indeed we have chosen the right path of allowing food to be our medicine. So remember this, the information presented here is for educational purpose only. It's not a prescription for self-diagnosis or self-medication. Do consult your physician regarding the application of any opinion and recommendation with respect to your symptoms or medical condition. So in recapping what we did last week, we actually we advocate that it would be best to avoid these 5 whites so that we can raise super immunity children. And what are the 5 whites? They are white rice, white sugar, white milk, especially commercial milk. Okay. And then we have also the white flour and white salt. And there's one very important, one more area that we have to avoid, and that's actually trans fat. Something that we cannot see, okay, trans fat. And this is a fat that is so hidden in all our pastries, our cakes, our cookies, our biscuits, deep fried fruit, products containing vegetable shortening, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oil. And these are mainly found in a lot of processed food. And it took us as a family to slowly take out all this, and then we begin to do things like cooking from home. What are the things to get to add into our way that we raise our own children? My family of 4 children, myself and my husband. So we had to remember this when we read labels especially in the area of labels. Remember, they can say no, 0 trans fat, but does it really mean 0 trans fat? Okay, because it is accepted that with less than 0.5 gram fat, trans fat in this processed food, it's considered as trans fat. But remember, as we raise super children, they are children, right? So even with this 0.5 gram, we think it's so little. It is very detrimental in raising the super immunity children. Okay, in raising the immunity. Right. So what then do we give our children? What this we can't eat and that we can't eat. Then we have a turn to what we call whole food. And what are whole food? We'll be surprised. Last week we covered about colors, having to eat food that's full of colors. So you say, hey, whole food is so dull, everything is green, but we want to present to you that whole foods can be really beautifully colored, and the colors are just close to nature. So look at the food we're talking about: fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, even for fish and the vegetables, lots of wonderful colors. Okay, and we actually advocate that it's best ideally to introduce 7 colors in your children's food, and even for yourself. If you cannot, start off with 3, 5, and you go to 7 whole day. It is possible when you intentionally set aside to raise super immunity children. Okay, this is another picture of whole food. We are talking about even yogurt. This is a good breakfast item. A good, wonderful porridge, a millet porridge, which will show you a video on how to do your millet porridge. All right, pasta. Okay, and so even in food groups, when we are talking about feeding our children, we want to look into the food groups, and there are major food groups and macronutrient. And one of them is carbohydrate. And what does carbohydrate do for our body? It gives us fuel for the body, energy, right? And this is a macro. That means you need a lot of this carbohydrates you want to eat them so that you feel full. Okay, so it is okay. And then another food group is called a protein food. Okay, in a protein food, we're talking about an area where protein is needed to build tissue and muscle. Like, in the event that you have a cut, is able to heal quickly, building, growth, and repair. So we look at it again, we're talking about eggs, healthy source of protein, legumes, and we are really encouraging that each of our family will look into a plant-based whole food protein. Okay, right, wild salmon, almond, yogurt, right. And good fats, what are good fats? You know, before I came to New Life, I do not really understand the concept of good fats. You know, we thought, okay, very oily, don't eat, or something like that. But then I began to study in my process of this natural healing, walking my own journey to getting well. I realized that good fats, that is especially coming from a plant base, is really highly, highly recommended. And it's so depleted in today our food, especially our children, even ourselves as adults. So one of the two, why are good fats important in our diet? Because these are called essential fatty acid, and it's not able to be produced in our body. Okay, so what happens is that we need to actually make sure that it's found in our diet, where we can find avocados, in pecans, in nuts, in oats, in legumes, you know. And most, the two oil that we beautifully, very thankful that New Life has given us, is the coconut oil, which comes from a coconut tree, and a flaxseed oil, okay, from flaxseed. And these are important for us to build our immunity and our cellular protection. It sort of protect our cells in our body system. Okay, brain is anti-inflammation, allergy, joint health, joint care, hormones, hormone regulation. Mind, it's really an important food group that we always do not pay attention to it. So I really want to hope that each of us, even as we leave this place from here, do remember about these two good fats, right? Okay, enzymes. What are enzymes? Life begets life. Okay, we covered this in our super immunity for children too. Life enzyme, whatever there is life begets life. So life enzymes are needed for life to take place. And it's important to ensure that our body receives adequate supply of phytonutrients. And how do we receive it? We are receiving it through living nutrients, organic minerals. Where do they come from? Vitamins, enzymes, and fiber. Where are they found? They are found abundantly in our fruits and our vegetables. So, especially when a child is young, we want to start our child right on a fully, on a predominantly, like a 50, 70% on a plant base, full of vegetable, fruits, legumes, lentils, nuts, and seeds. Okay. And so, in order to do that, because when you eat raw food, like even all this juicing and raw, it is very important that we need to know how to prepare and to prepare in washing our fruits and our vegetables. So, in New Life, we are very glad that in New Life we have this dishwash and hydrogen peroxide. For those of you, we have produced a video clip on how to go about using this to wash your dish, using this to wash your fruits and vegetables, and you'll be surprised, especially in the area of washing your berries, your raspberries, because they are moldy, and you can actually see the fungi, the mold, and this helps in clearing out your agricultural pesticides, your fungi, your mold, your pesticides. Okay, so we have a clip from that. Though, if you like to the video clip, we would encourage you to ask your friend who invited you, or put in the chat group now, and we could send it to you later. Okay, all right. Okay, and you see, it's difficult to get your children, if they have not eaten a lot of vegetables and raw vegetables, it's going to be really a struggle to say, hey, now it's time to eat all the vegetables. You're going to have a real world war at home. And so so what we are advocating is that then do it into a micronutrient into your juice, you know, and wonderful. How that juice is our super fast food, where your vegetables can be juiced and you can actually drink it, and ensuring that you have all your life enzymes. Okay, so it is the healthiest at 25, and juice is live food and enzyme rich. This is a wonderful thing, because imagine getting your child to just eat one whole plate of vegetable, you know, versus a cup that we can make, ensure that they can drink with their favorite fruits in it. So the absorption is fast. Within 10 to 15 minutes, there is an optimal absorption. And because digestion process takes as long as 3 to 5 hours, when you have the juice and the fiber, or even everything together, okay, it takes a longer time. But the minute you just have live juices, okay, you just remember within 10 minutes, you're able to just, your body is just able to absorb all this in. So nutrients are in the juice and not in the fiber. So what does the juice do? It cleanses and repair your liver, kidney, your intestinal tract, okay, and it builds your blood. So juicing is something that we advocate daily, okay, even in my own family. So why fresh juice? Okay, and we have this doctor, this very important live food juice book talks about Dr. H.E. Krishna, and he says this: the power to break down the cellular structure of raw vegetables and assimilate the precious element they contain. Even the healthiest individual is only fractional, not more than 35%, and the less healthy down to 1%. But in the form of a juice, these same individuals assimilate up to 92% of these nutrients. So imagine when you take a cup of juice, especially when you are your whole body assimilate fast, and you know it's a super 21st century food. So in a healing kitchen, very important as one of the investment that we really want to advocate is invest in a good life juicer, in a juicer that helps you to draw out, to be able to take away the agricultural chemicals, to divide, the pulp and which is the fiber and the juice, to have it a solid, a very excellent juicing to drink, to have in your body. Okay, so what I'm going to do with you right now, I'm going to share with you a video you can watch and understand how a juicer works. And with this, Lydia, today I'm very glad to have Lydia with me, and both of us will be sharing this. And the next part of segment, Lydia will be taking over to share on the areas in the other parts of area or other food area of even your gut health. Okay, so we thank you for watching with us, and please take the time to watch this 9-in-1 Alpha Juicer video. Relax and enjoy yourself.
Welcome to New Life International. Today we are going to have a look at the Alpha DA900 juicer and multi-purpose food processor. This versatile appliance comes with many different functions, which include juicing, grinding, mincing, noodle making, milk extraction from almonds or soybeans, ice shaving, vegetable slicing, and more. Manufactured in South Korea, the New Life Alpha Juicer comes with a portable motor as the main body, a hopper, drum, spiral screw, mincing and juicing strainers, the drum cap, nozzles for making noodles or breadsticks, collection bowls, strainer, cleaning brush, and pusher. It is easy to assemble and disassemble and to clean after use. To assemble, simply attach the drum to the main body, then insert the spiral screw, followed by the strainer, and secure it tightly with the drum cap. Lastly, add the hopper to the top of the drum. Apart from knowing the health benefits of fresh juices, using the right type of juicer is even more important. This is a normal, conventional juicer, and this is the Alpha Juicer. We will juice green apples and romaine lettuce using both machines for comparison. As you can see, the one produced by the normal juicer has more foam because more air is turned in during the juicing process. Notice the difference in color. The brown tone indicates that the juice has already oxidized. The nutritional value and quality of the juice is compromised when oxidation takes place. Here is a plate with equal portions of romaine lettuce to be juiced by the normal juicer and the Alpha Juicer. As you can see, the Alpha Juicer produces more yield and the output is richer in color, which indicates more nutrients. Why is the Alpha Juicer able to produce superior quality of juices? This is because it is engineered based on the principle of stone milling, where no metal blade is used. Instead, a spiral, stone, mill-like gear slowly crushes fruits or vegetables and then squeezes the juices out at a low speed of 80 revolutions per minute. This slow grinding process does not generate heat while juicing, thus preserving the live enzymes and nutrients in the juice. Normal juicers squeeze out mainly the water content, leaving a lot of valuable minerals and nutrients behind. You can tell the difference simply by color, texture, and taste. The Alpha Juicer can juice all types of fruits and vegetables, ranging from hard to soft. Let's take a look at pandan, for example. You'll be surprised at how much pandan juice can be extracted from the Alpha Juicer and how rich and concentrated the green juice is. Pandan is great as a form of natural coloring and flavoring for many dishes. Green juices provide us with a lot of phytonutrients and are rich in vitamins and minerals. The darker the color of the vegetable, the higher the content of minerals, especially calcium and iron, which help to build red blood cells in the body. Pineapple is great for improving digestion. It is very rich in vitamin C and digestive enzymes, which help to break down proteins during digestion. Besides juicing, the Alpha Juicer is excellent at squeezing coconut milk or santan out of fresh coconut. Delicious soya bean and almond milk can also be extracted using this machine. Almonds are high in proteins and essential fatty acids and are cholesterol-free. They are high in vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant, and contain minerals such as zinc, magnesium, potassium, calcium, and iron. They are at their best when eaten raw after soaking overnight and sprouting, which makes them easier to digest and their nutrients more readily available. Here's how. Wash and soak 1 cup of almonds for 8 hours to neutralize the enzyme inhibitors, which may put a strain on the digestive system. Run them through the alpha juicer using the mincing strainer. Add a cup of distilled water into the almond pulp. To extract milk, replace mincing strainer with juicing strainer. You can see the pulp being separated from the milk, relieving you from the task of squeezing with your hands. You now have a delicious drink packed with live enzymes, vitamins, minerals, and proteins. To make a delicious chili sauce for serving with dishes such as chicken rice, mince garlic, fresh chilies, ginger, and mix with apple cider vinegar and honey. With the same function, you can mince bean curd, mashed potatoes, and make chicken or fish balls, as well as fish cakes. The alpha juicer is excellent for making fruit sorbets. Just freeze some bananas, pineapples, or strawberries and run them through the mincing function. It is a delicious and healthy dessert that is so easy and fun to prepare. Grinding function using the mincing strainer can also be used for dry ingredients. You can make your own healthy nut butters using peanuts, almonds, or cashews. Making your own nut butter allows you to use healthier ingredients and the best quality of nuts, while avoiding the hydrogenated vegetable oils often found in commercial nut butters, to increase the risk of heart disease and cancer. Simply use the alpha juicer to grind the nuts into a fine texture. Then mix with pure raw honey and flaxseed oil to make healthy, homemade peanut butter, free from preservatives, sugar, salt, and trans fats. Flaxseed oil is rich in omega-3 essential fatty acids that promote a healthy heart while reducing inflammation in the body. With the ground peanuts, you can also make peanut buns, peanut cookies, and other desserts. Why not make your own healthy noodles or spaghetti with wholemeal flour and vegetable juice without any preservatives, additives, or coloring? The alpha juicer has 4 types of noodle nozzles. 2 are round and 2 are flat. With these, you can make healthy noodles and spaghetti of different shapes and sizes. And there are also 2 types of nozzles for making rice sticks or breadsticks. Here, we are using wholemeal flour mixed with spinach juice. You can see that the dough is green in color, with no artificial color added. You may use carrot juice instead if you prefer your noodles to have an orange color. If you like egg noodles, you may add some beaten eggs instead of the juices to the flour. Moving on, here are 2 other functions of the alpha juicer: ice shaving and slicing. Just change the attachments to the ice shaver, and now you can make your shaved ice desserts. Simply put some ice cubes in the ice shaver and press start. Now, I'm sure we all love potato chips, especially children. Potato chips found in stores are not cheap and usually contain too much salt, artificial flavors, and trans fat. With the alpha juicer, you can bake your own healthy potato chips. Besides slicing potatoes, you can also slice vegetables such as carrots, garlic, shallots, chili, and more. The alpha juicer is a heavy-duty appliance and can run non-stop for hours if required. It also has a built-in safety function and will shut itself off if overheated, switching back again after the motor has cooled down. The parts are easy to wash, durable, non-toxic, and replacements are highly affordable. The alpha juicer will make food preparation much easier and enable you to prepare healthy, nutritious juices and food for you and your loved ones.
For years, we have been training people how to make the kitchen the best pharmacy. And I think one of the most important equipment that a natural kitchen need to have is a very functional juicer. You have actually seen the video that basically give you the 9-in-1 features of the alpha juicer. And when we are talking about raising healthy children, one of the problems that our kids, especially the Asian kids, have, and the way the common ailment that we are seeing among children got to do with the lack of enzyme and the lack of phytonutrients. Phyto meaning that they are from the plants, they have not been cooked to death. That means in Asia, we basically cook all our vegetables to death. So there's no more a macro and micro nutrients that are like fully intact the way we would advocate eating raw fruits and vegetables. So Susie has had actually covered for you the main groups of macronutrients. So I want to share with you how juicing actually compensate and to ensure that your child actually derive from juices the most concentrated form of vitamins, minerals, enzymes, phytonutrients, in all the A to Z nutrients, vitamins basically, and then antioxidant, and also trace minerals from the organic source from the plant family. So I think you have seen the video on how important it is to ensure that you have a very good juicer that basically able to help you do a few things that actually protect your children's health. One is that the juicers must not have the agricultural chemicals. And this is the reason why a lot of children are sick and intoxicated in the bloodstream as well. It's got to do with them taking non-organic produce and then keep taking a lot of fresh produce or rather chemical food. They are not only loaded with pesticide, as what Susie mentioned, the fungus are there, and then the parasite worms and also the bacteria. And that cause them to be very sickly and lower in their immune system. So that's one thing you want to consider when you are looking into using food as the best medication. And the fastest medication you can give to your children actually in the form of fresh juices. Then the other aspect of it is to retain the live enzymes. When we cook our vegetables to death, really there's no life, and enzymes are very, very essential as a key to unlock the lives and the health stage of the human cell. So remember that the pesticides, agricultural chemicals, and also killing of vegetables and the fruits to death, devoid of enzymes, are one of the major ill health factors. And when we are talking about the lack of enzymes, what are the symptoms that we are seeing among children, especially for Asian children, because a big part of our culture or dietary gap is that we are not really a culture that predominantly eat a lot of raw fruits and salad in the form of like in the form of fruits and salad. Therefore, I'm suggesting that for parents, don't panic if you don't think that you can ever convince or get your child to actually take raw fruits and vegetables. Let them drink the raw fruits and vegetables. Failing which, when a child is very deficient, either by not taking enough fruits and vegetables, the macro and the micronutrients are missing in their body, so they get into a nutritional deficiency, and they get into a stage called toxemia. Toxins build up in the gut, and from the gut it goes through the liver, and then plus medications and other ill health factors. So that's how they develop into very common medical conditions, which I will list down later part of the talk. So the signs of lacking in enzyme due to the lack of phytonutrients in raw fruits and vegetable forms, and not taking enough salad, not taking enough fresh juices, are the child always have bloatedness, always have a complaint of a tummy ache. And then you see in the middle at the top, the picture of eczema or hives, or even for that matter, psoriasis that many kids are having. Then you have this sleepy child. When a child is eating too much meat, too much cooked food, there is not enough enzyme to wake up the human cell. So they are always very fatigued and complaining of wanting to sleep or no interest in learning or playing. Then you have bloating, very colicky children, always complaining after a meal or eating the wrong kind of food, and having very sluggish digestive tract, complaining of a lot of gas that got stuck into the stomach. Then you have indigestion, and then you have nutritional deficiency, underweight or malnourishment, despite eating well in a very affluent country like Singapore, because it has got to do with the body lacking an enzyme and then not able to properly digest the food that the child is eating. So I want to share with you how you as parents can actually start to introduce juices to young kids. I would suggest that if your child is below 1 year old, there's really no need to give the juices. I think the earliest that you want to introduce, even if the child is really refusing to eat vegetables in the diet and really not having enough raw fruits and vegetables, right? Then the next thing, the earliest I think is maybe 9 months old. But even if at 9 months old, number one, the juice have to be 50% diluted, and then there are also very limited choices for a 9 month old baby. Juices like green apple is pretty not something that's very disturbing or very strong for a young child to cope with. But I would suggest that if you want to introduce juices, number one, you need to know that do not give concentrated juices, because it may be too sweet and the enzymes and the nutrients may be too much for the young digestive tract to handle. So dilute 50% if your child is 1 to 2 years old. If he is 2 to 4 years old, you can actually dilute with distilled water. We talked about distilled water being the best to raise healthy children last week. 30% dilution, meaning you add 30% of distilled water into the juice, concentrated juice, freshly prepared. If the child is 4 to 6, you can basically go into 20 to 30% dilution. And then beyond the 7 years old, well, you can actually start to give concentrated or undiluted juices. What are the very safe juices that you can start with? I will just give you a few options. Choices that you can actually start with if you know that your child has never tried juices before, or are too young to try all the very spicy or all the very strong juices like onion, bitter gourd, turmeric, ginger. Those are not suitable for very young children. So very gentle one on the stomach and very, very nourishing to compensate for any nutritional shortfall or deficiency. Include carrot and green apple. So you can do a proportion of 2 carrots to 1 green apple, or one carrot to half a green apple, and then you get enough, for the child to drink. Then you have papaya. Green pear juice is really good, especially the child is very constipated. So give them papaya juice and green pear juice, particularly if you know that your child is complaining of bloating and gas and also constipation. And then if you can put this juice and add into a little bit of the yogurt, well, you'll be amazed how constipation can be easily resolved within a very short period of time, or less than 1 day's time. Then lemon juice and orange juices are predominantly quite safe for young, even the younger kids. Some green leafy vegetables can be introduced if your child is like 2.5 or 3 years old. Vegetables like kale and romaine lettuce are pretty safe, except that I want to caution that in the recent months, you have read reports about the contamination, the E. coli bacteria in romaine lettuce. So you want to be very careful about those imported ones that are from the questionable countries as reported. But otherwise, if your romaine lettuce are organic, they should be very, very safe to start introduce into your kids, maybe 2.5 or ideally 3 years and above. You can start to give them green juices. Nutritionally, I want to zoom into this. We call this the groups of 3 macronutrients. You can take a picture of it, or if you want this slide, you can put it in the chat box. I would be more than happy to share with you. You will realize that a child 1 to 3 will need very little protein in that sense, but carbohydrate in the forms of fruits and vegetables, predominantly, or even for that matter, root vegetables like pumpkin, potato, they are very, very healthy way of introducing carbohydrates. And then a lot of fruits and vegetables are also very loaded with complex carbo. And you will also notice that for young children, they need a lot of good fats. So good fats from natural sources like flaxseed oil, coconut oil, avocado, some seeds are very naturally loaded with good fats, a very essential part to meet to their nutritional need. And then you can see older kids between 4 to 18, you will see that the fat content or intake start to reduce, and then maybe you can start to, as they grow up, they're building muscles, then the protein can actually go up a little bit. But by and large, I think the carbohydrates from predominantly the fruits and vegetable sources, right? You should your child should get like anything between 50 to 75% most ideal cases of carbohydrates from predominantly fruits and vegetables in this proportion that I've shown in this chart. And then of course, and when the child is above 19, predominantly they have become in terms of the body functions and all that, it's like a full-fledged kind of adult that they can actually go into the nutritional intake suitable for by and large generally speaking most of the adults. So I want to focus parents the importance of having good fats for your child. And the problem is that our kids are starting to eat a lot of fried food. So fast food become part of their staple. And I'm amazed because when a child before a child start going to school, right, you see that the parents start bringing them to all the fast food chain every week or every other day or a few times a week. They start to eat, they grow up actually eating like potato chips, or even for that matter, the French fries or fried chicken and all that. Even if you are not so strict about it, I would suggest parents you keep it to very, very occasional treats, but not as a staple, because your child will end up having a lot of complications and like skin, like allergies, eczema, and bloating and gas and indigestion, and many other hosts of problems got to do with a faulty diet. And one of it, of course, is the lack of essential fatty acid, particularly the omega-3. So when a child is eating bad fats, trans fats from all this fried food and animal fats that are commercially raised, they have very weak immune system. They have all sorts of allergic condition, and that leads to a lot of this condition. By and large, we call it inflammatory condition, and like eczema, indigestion, bloating. All those are like in one way or another causing inflammation happening, or tummy ache even for that matter. Any kind of discomfort or pain got to do with some inflammation that's going on in the body, and then you want to give your child omega-3. The richest source of omega-3 actually comes from the flaxseed oil. And then the other thing I want to address is that I'm beginning to see also, it's a very alarming, a lot of children are having all sorts of allergic conditions, conditions like eczema, rashes, hives, and even psoriasis, sinus, always have this mucus dripping down, and itchy eyes and itchy ears. All these are symptoms of the child having allergy. So the lack of essential fatty acid, in this case, omega-3, is one major cause of allergy. The other thing got to do with the gut that is being intoxicated, the colon, the digestive tract is not working well. So that leads to many complications like allergy. And before that, leaky gut can happen, sensitive gut or celiac gut. These are all the disorder in the child's whole digestive system, and one of the main culprit always certainly start with the intake of antibiotics. So parents, if you ever know that you are in a situation where your healthcare professional wants to actually prescribe antibiotic for your child, please talk to me first. Talk to New Life nutritionists, and talk to your friends who actually refer you to this webinar, because a lot of these scary and problematic health conditions among kids actually started with the antibiotic. Even eczema, every time when I trace back the root, it has got to do with the leaky gut, and leaky gut got to do with them taking antibiotic that eventually deplete their friendly bacteria, and then they have this a lot of gaps in the gut, and that leads to all sorts of allergic condition, indigestion, and you suspect it. Children who are being very autistic, again, the gut is usually not doing well as well, and they don't do well with another group of food called the gluten. So any child that's having a digestion system malfunctioning, autistic, or even allergic condition, it's very important for the parents to know that to the best that they can, they should avoid either processed kind of gluten-rich food, or even in its most natural form, not that they cannot eat bread. For example, in New Life, we advocate, and we even carry our own best wholemeal wheat flour to bake bread. But if I know that that person, whether a child or an adult, it's having allergic condition, then I would even suggest that maybe for 6 weeks or up to 3 months, while they're working on the nutritional protocol with us, right, take away all the wheat and even for that matter, any food, natural or unnatural, that actually contains gluten, because gluten has got this element in there called the gliadin, and gliadin is very, very challenging and can trigger, a cascading effect of all sorts of ills, including allergic reaction, like, a shock or indigestion or bloating or tummy ache, or even for that matter, skin flare up in the form of a very bad eczema. So you want to look into, these are the very good gluten-free substitute. If the child is not able to eat spelt barley, or even for that matter wheat, right, then what can they eat? You can make a millet pancake, you can make amaranth flour a pancake instead, or rice using a rice pancake, and mix with their banana or healthy condiments or fruits and vegetables to make into their gluten-free diet. And then these are the pictures where there are a lot of variety that are naturally gluten-free. So I hope that gives you a solution. If you're always thinking, how come why is it that your child is always perpetually having phlegm, mucus, allergy, itchy eyes, and then itchy ears, and bloating and gas and allergic reaction. So it could be that they really cannot tolerate a lot of chemicals, and one of them that's very challenging for the digestive tract is actually gluten. So you want to be careful of that. The other ill health factor for most of the Asian kids that we deal with, I would easily say 50% of the children's allergic condition got to do with milk allergy, and milk allergy specifically is got to do with the milk sugar in the cow's milk, especially the commercially raised cows. And these cows are raised with injected hormones, with antibiotics, with a lot of chemical toxicity included. And I think Susie and Abigail actually addressed a big part of how the cows are being commercially raised these days. So the good news is this, that you don't really have to avoid cow's milk altogether. You just need to make sure that, number one, the choice of your cow's milk are from organic sources, which New Life has. New Life organic cow's milk are truly organic, no hormones, no growth stimulants, and the cows are raised naturally free range, and they eat grass. They don't take antibiotics or take drugs to promote the milk production. So I think that's a very safe introduction of dairy, but I suggest you even make the cow's milk into yogurt. And yogurt eating is one very, very important part of us restoring back children's all the A to Z condition that actually start with predominantly in the gut. So the foundation of a child's or adult's health got to do with restoring back their gut health, colon, digestive tract, how they assimilate and filling up the leaky gut, restoring them back to health, and then promoting a proper bowel and introducing probiotic in the form of friendly bacteria from the food sources you can take from predominantly from yogurt. And we do have a video, and we teach people how to make yogurt. The only thing is that if you're using the New Life cow's milk, make sure that you are only giving the New Life cow's milk to your child who is 1.5 years and above. Because children below 1.5 years old, remember the fat content, they need a lot of good fats. Unless you want to give them fat-free or low-fat, but you need to up your intake, the child's intake of the coconut oil and the flaxseed oil. But as a whole, I think that in that whole natural way of raising our children, we will suggest that mother, if you can, breastfeed your baby minimum 6 months, ideally 2 to 3 years. And if you really cannot, then you try to push anything beyond 6 months, at least the first 1 year of the child's life. Do remember to give your child the first right to be healthy. And giving breast milk is one very, very important part of building the antibodies and building the strong immune system for the child. So when a child is very weakened in the digestive system, eating too much meat that clogged up, putrefied, and then fermented, or eating too much of the refined starches and all that, they get rotten inside. The food cannot be properly digested, and therefore cannot be assimilated in terms of the nutrients. So they get into toxemia and nutritional deficiency. Then one of the common reason for why kids are having all sorts of allergic reaction, got to like sinus, eczema, skin bloating, and very colicky, got to do with the child not able to properly digest milk sugar called casein. That's why converting the cow's milk, either using the New Life's cow's milk organic, that's most, I think that's the most ideal choice for older kids. But if your kids are really below 1.5 years old, and the best way you can introduce yogurt is to make your homemade yogurt. I am not really excited about parents buying this commercial yogurt from the supermarket shelf, because I find that even for most of the yogurt, they're already loaded with sugar that kills the bacteria and friendly bacteria anyway, coloring, and the flavors are really not the real fruit. They are actually mimic, chemical make kind of fake kind of fruits added in. So the flavor that the child is getting, whether it's strawberry, mango, or blueberry, they are predominantly not a real fruit. So I suggest that you make your plain yogurt and then you put in a little bit of honey. You can actually put your child's favorite fruit puree or chop it up into small pieces. That is the most one of the most healing food to prevent the child from having chronic allergic reaction that comes in the form of ear infection, eczema, sinus, sinusitis, bronchitis, yes, asthma. Asthmatic attack got to do with milk allergy as well, digestive problem, and even for that matter, autoimmune disease. So the different kinds of skin problem, the phlegm, the flu, the gas, the bloating, the diarrhea, and cramping and constipation, it predominantly among Asians got to do with milk allergy. I think we talk about caution parents about giving their children soy milk last week. I won't go into the detail, but if you want to watch the video again to recap why no soy milk for young kids who cannot tolerate a cow's milk, do check us out on that video. That will be more than happy to share with you. So you see that the bronchitis and even eczema, they can get well. 50% of the children in 2 weeks time, I see relief. At least 50% of the condition actually get well just by removing the cow's milk. So you see how, it's a problem, a culprit for our children to drink commercial milk or to drink milk because of the lactose intolerance. Why are we advocating making cow's milk and turning the cow's milk into yogurt? Is because you realize that yogurt actually tastes like vomits. Vomits meaning that they are very soury. It's because yogurt actually bypass our digestive system. So that's why taking yogurt is less allergic compared to cow's milk, because of the breaking down of the protein or the sugar, the milk sugar in the form of like casein has already been broken down as a result of yogurt going through the fermentation process. And that's why a lot of allergic children, when I ask the parents to take out the cow's milk, make the cow's milk or their formula into yogurt or New Life low-fat organic cow's milk, 95 and above % of these kids no longer have the allergy. So it's not only the milk, but it's what's gone to the milk and the casein that's not been broken down as a result of the fermentation process, that what we see in traditional nourishment food called yogurt. So we do have a video. Let me just play this video to share with you how easy, how cost effective, and how it is the best that you can do in the comfort of your home to invest in a very good yogurt maker. So a juicer is one very good healing kitchen equipment. The next one you may want to consider that's very low cost and very functional. It's yogurt. So enjoy the video. And a few other natural food. They are gluten-free, nourishing, that will be playing the next 15 minutes or so.
my name is Lisa. In this part of the session, I want to show you how you can make almond milk at home using the Alpha Juicer. What I have here is pre-soaked almond. Make sure that your almonds are roasted almonds because the taste is beautiful when it's roasted. I soaked this for the past 8 hours. I've just thrown away the water that it was in for the past 8 hours. What you will need to do to make almond milk is you need to pour clean distilled water into the almond. Now, in order to make almond milk, you can do it 2 ways, but at home, I usually use the juicing function, which has got holes in this part of the juicer. You can do it another way by using the mincing function first, run through the almonds, and then switch the part to the juicing function. But today I'm going to show you how to do it using the juicing function right away. Now I will run through the soaked almond and distilled water into the Alpha Juicer. That was our first run through the Alpha Juicer, and you can see the pulp is quite fine. Normally I would run through this 3 times altogether. So I will pour the almond meal back into my bowl and I will add water again. If you want your almond to be very thick in consistency, just add a little bit of water. I'm just putting in enough water for the almond because I like my almond to be quite thick in consistency. I have just completed my second mincing of the almond meal. I will do the last round of mincing now. Round of the grinding or mincing function of the almond meal, and you can see that the almond has been completely pulped and is very dry, and it just shows that the Alpha Juicer masticating function is really optimal. And I want to show you how much yield I can get out of 1 cup of almond. This is about 500 milliliter of almond milk that I could extract from 1 cup of roasted almonds. If you want a smooth consistency of this milk, you can sieve it through cheesecloth to make sure that any residue will be taken out. What do we do with the pulp of the almonds that's left behind? I usually use this in my baking. I like to make banana cake or muffins with almond meal, and it's really delicious because it adds nutty flavor to your cake or to your bread. Some people use the almond meal as a face scrub, so you could try that too at home. So millet is very high in B1, vitamin B1, and iron. B1 is needed for the glucose metabolism in our body, which is used for energy, and is also needed in our brain cell and muscle function. Millet is also very high in fiber, potassium, and protein. It's also rich in iron. As you know, iron is an important building block in our red blood cells to carry oxygen and nutrients around the body. You have to soak your millet overnight, at least 8 hours before you cook it. So to cook millet, you just need 1 part millet and 3 parts water. So I have prepared half a cup of millet and I've added 3 parts of water to it. Make sure that the millet is continually stirred so that you don't get a burned bottom. With the almond milk that I've just made, I will pour this into my millet porridge. Stir the millet as you pour in the almond milk. This is how I normally mix the millet with the almond for my breakfast porridge. And what do you eat it with? I'll show you. This is how I make applesauce at home for our breakfast dish. So you just take red Granny Smith apples. In this pot there are about 4 of them, and you just cut them into wedges and boil them with a little bit of water. Not too much water, and I put in cinnamon stick inside for the flavoring. And I don't add any sugar because apple has natural sugar in itself. The apples are now cooked. Now I will make it into applesauce by using my hand blender. Make sure that there is a bit of water left in your apple so that the blending is easier. If you don't have a hand blender like this one, you can just put it in as it is with your millet porridge. Your millet and almond porridge, the way I eat it at home normally is I have just blended my apple. This is my pure applesauce with no added sugar, and I will just put it on top. And I always love to put berries on all of my porridge. This is blackberry, blueberry, and strawberry. And lastly, my homemade granola, which I always put as the final topping. So I have just presented you with an idea for a very nutritious, wholesome breakfast that you can try at home. Please don't feel overwhelmed when you see how it's being prepared, because making applesauce is very easy. You can make it in large quantity at one time and freeze it in the freezer, and it can last a long time. The almond milk cannot last in the fridge for more than 3 days. So if you want to make a large quantity, you can separate them into different containers and freeze them in the freezer as well. But you have to consume the fresh almond milk within 2 or 3 days. So that was some millet porridge that you can have for breakfast.
Now, the other thing that Lisa added in was the granola. You take a look at the top right-hand corner of this picture. For the full recipes, do pick this book up. It's available for sale in New Life, called Food That Fits, which is containing a lot of this wholesome, healthy diet a meal. If you do not know where to start with, I think this will be a very good Food That Fits recipe for not only the young, but also for the whole family to move towards a very healthy way of eating. And then recipes that are labeled with DRP friendly, they are actually suitable to be eaten even when you're doing our Dr. Lin Tan's detoxification and rejuvenation program. And I have to tell you what my niece and a few of my family members and friends will try this granola. They only have one word to describe this granola. It says additive. So recently I asked, I didn't have time, so I asked Susie's daughter, Gabriel, who has become an expert in baking this granola. And this recipe is quite idiot-proof, I was told. That almost everybody who bought the book tried this granola. They always said that it's really addictive and really nice to eat. And it's full of goodness in there. So you might want to look at this recipe book. Or if you find that, let me just show you a few pictures of what is in there. Or rather the recipes are in there. You have yogurt ice cream, you have pancake, wholemeal flour. Then you have Asian salad with a different kind of dressing, and you even have this, the sushi roll. You got to try this sushi roll that made from the brown rice, which is also gluten-free. Right. So for those of you who want the recipes based on what we have shown you in the video form or in this recipe card, and plus many others that we have suitable for the young and old, please put out in this chat box. We'll be more than happy to send you these recipes that you can actually try out. So smoothie is another one. Yeah. So good fats you need to take from flaxseed oil, extra virgin coconut oil, very important set of oil if you want to raise healthy children. And of course, if you are letting your kids eat eggs, right? Ideally, eggs should be organic and not from the commercially raised chickens, because they're loaded with a lot of antibiotics and hormones. And do introduce some seeds and nuts, except peanut, cashew nuts. If the kids are very allergic at the current moment, then you may want to just take away the nuts. So good fats are a very, very important aspect of for the child's health. Now, in New Life, as you can see in the demo, that we have singled out two most important good fat, dietary fats that should be included in every family's meal. and especially for growing up children. I want to share with you that the medium chain fatty acid available in extra virgin coconut oil, and you got to try this New Life one. They are very not heated, cold pressed, full of natural vitamin E, antioxidant, and it has got a very fragrant, nice accent. So use it as a dressing, use it as a cooking oil. Flaxseed oil cannot be cooked because it cannot tolerate heat, but extra virgin coconut oil can tolerate 180 degree. It's a cooking oil, much as it's a healthy oil that you can put into your dressing or into your porridge as well. Now, we are asking that mothers should give their children, even the young babies, can tolerate or can handle this extra virgin coconut oil. It's very antifungal, antimicrobial. That means it kills bacteria, it kills virus. So imagine how much it builds up the child's immune system. And it is also very, like I said, very antiviral, and also very, very parasitic. So we use it to do deworming for adults and children as well. So kids who are taking extra virgin coconut oil, they are usually having very good vitamin E. So it's also one of the things that we use internally and externally for scarring, especially for eczema children, or perpetually having some skin trouble. So do pick up your extra virgin coconut oil. It's a staple oil that should be included in every natural kitchen as a cooking oil or as a whole food supplement. You can take a look at this dosage. I won't repeat that, but you snap a picture, or you can pick up the nutritional remedy booklet that will make it available for you. Then the other good oil is called essential fatty acid, full of omega-3. Is something that you cannot, the body cannot produce, and it must only be derived from dietary sources. So that gives you another clue that one of the things that, in fact, flaxseed oil is what I use to treat my child's asthmatic attack. So when I knew about New Life, and it was Dr. Lin who taught me how to raise my children naturally, one of the things I included into his diet back then, because he was very asthmatic and always having wheezing, cough, bronchitis. And I started putting in just like 1 tablespoonful, split into 2 times, of the flaxseed oil when he was young. And within 2 weeks, his asthma never actually came back. I put in this flaxseed oil, and I took out the cow's milk that was a perpetual cause of his mucus and sinus problem. So you want to include that into your kids' supplement or as a whole food. So remember, flaxseed oil must be chilled, and it cannot be cooked. It must not be subjected to high heat. Again, these are the dosage. It can even be taken by newborn babies. That tells you how digestible and how pure this oil can be, and very, very essential. We use it for shrinking cancer tumor as well, and for many, many other functions. Every single part of our body basically quite need essential fatty acids, and flaxseed oil is the best source of plant-based omega-3 essential fatty acid. And the best way to take flaxseed oil is to go with your yogurt. So there's a research that have pointed to the fact that the protein oil combination will make the assimilation of both the protein as well as flaxseed oil most bioavailable. And you can see in our videos that one of the favorites we always show people is to ask them to take yogurt with flaxseed oil. So if you want your kid to have very beautiful skin, no asthmatic attack, and very strong immune system, and glossy hair and strong immune system, right? And very disease preventive. Make sure that they have enough flaxseed oil, which is also part of the good fats. I won't go into the detail of what Lisa has already shown you in the video, but I would suggest that one of the things that parents can do to move the child away from all the sweetened drinks, like your carbonated drink, your packet, even for that matter, commercially babies packaged juice, please don't touch them. I don't believe that there's any much benefit in there, even though some of them may be labeled as organic. But I want to suggest to you parents, if your child start drinking apple cider vinegar, just half a teaspoon will do, or 1/3 teaspoon if they're very young, equal portion of honey and apple cider with a glass of that distilled water. Kids who grow up like this don't know what, they usually don't have cough, because it's very dislodging for the phlegm, and it's very alkaline forming, full of malic acid for digestion, full of nutritional values, and a lot of enzymes in there. So remember, enzymes boost up the immune system and does not burden the digestion, or rather help with digestion. So make sure that you convert their commercial sweetened drink into apple cider and vinegar. So that's very, very important part of it. So in summary, besides the dietary recipes that we have shown you, I would suggest that this is an overall approach to you kickstart a very healthy body, or disease-free or symptom-free for kids. And trust me, in New Life, many of us have literally learned how to raise our children medicine-free. Our kids don't take medication unless they're into an accident or medical emergency. So first, remove all the food sensitivity, intolerance, allergy, and yeast infection. So from the washing of the produce to the diet part, Susie and I, we have covered that part of it. Remove the 5 whites, remember? And then white rice, bread, white rice, white flour, the white sugar, white salt, and white cow's milk, replace it with yogurt. And then take out trans fat, put in their good substitute that we have explained. Remember that the health of your child starts in the gut. So always make sure they have yogurt, they have probiotic friendly bacteria, and they remove all the external sources of toxin from the fluoride to the water, to the food that they are eating. Then remove all the chemicals in their beverages and the food source. Ideally go organic, go whole food. You can't go wrong that way. Predominantly a lot of fruits and vegetables. Replace commercial food, processed food with whole food, and do include some whole food supplementation. So this is how New Life mothers have successfully raised medicine-free, disease-free, and really symptom-free children of all ages. I won't go into detail, but I just, because we have covered that quite extensively during the last week webinar, but this is one, if you are thinking about, oh, there are some dietary gap, what do you do with your child that is not eating well, although you have an ideal, but for some reason you're busy, or your domestic helper, or really you yourself find that there are some limitation that you have practically speaking, not able to give them that kind of diet that we mentioned. So there is the next step beyond that nutritional shortfall will be consider some very essential whole food based supplementation to keep them healthy, and even not only that, to manage their diseases or symptom with this before you even consider taking a medication, especially when most of the kids' conditions are not medical emergency. So while one time is on your side, always look into your kitchen, look into whole food, and then look into whole food supplementation first, and keep the medication or visit to the clinic or A&E only as a last resort. And trust me, a lot of parents have successfully managed their children to a point where there is really no medical emergency. A lot of medical emergency comes as a result, falling short of having accident that is really an emergency, where most of them really get well within a very short period of time doing this nutritional path. So probiotic is very important. Keep their gut healthy, start doing colon cleansing on a day-to-day basis, maintenance, or during school holiday, you can just schedule them to start doing a few times of the fiber blend to start cleaning up their, detoxify their colon to keep their immune system very, very strong. So that is this combination, Immune Flora and the Kids Cleanse, is for gut health, which is 70% of your child's immune system is dependent on the gut. Then to keep them healthy, phlegm-free, cough-free, sometimes they eat salt, sometimes they eat fried food until, that they are very susceptible to flu, cough, and fever. You want to manage this by K-salt, honey, and apple cider vinegar drink, not only as a dressing, as a food, but it's a very, very important cough remedy in a natural way. And spirulina, I would suggest that if any supplement that you are thinking about to compensate for any nutritional shortfall, that means all the vitamin A to Z, the antioxidant, the protein, the nutrients, I think spirulina will be the first choice before you think about any extract supplement or even gummy bears or multivitamin capsule or tablet. Those are not as superior as opposed to whole food supplementation. So I think spirulina would top the list. They have beautiful skin, it's a lot of beta carotene, so a lot of antioxidant to keep their immune system really, really high, and full of B complexes as well. So it's very good for children, especially when you're moving them away from eating too much meat. You are moving them towards a plant-based diet, and you want to give them a lot of protein from plant-based sources. Spirulina will really top the list. So I think I will put spirulina as top of the list supplementation. If any parents considering supplementation for their children. All right, and then enzymes, indigestion, bloating, when they cannot tolerate a lot of food, they have allergies, and then you can actually consider standby some enzymes to manage their digestion system and to help them break free from the histamine release, especially for eczema children. Enzymes, it's one of the major lack, which is the cause of their eczema. Then instead of taking your, the flu tablet, the paracetamol, cough syrup, and all that, I suggest that you want to go into natural antibiotics and immune booster. Garlic, parsley, and then vitamin C. Popo Plus is my wonderful choice for antibiotics that is not only effective against bacteria, it's also very, very effective for viral infection. So any kind of flu, cough, fever, make sure that you opt for the Popo Plus as a natural antibiotic. And bee pollen is again energy food, a lot of zinc, tissue building, and immune system. And same thing, there's a lot of protein, so it's very good for families or children who are moving towards a more plant-based diet, and they want to ensure that they continue to have very strong and lean muscle. So bee pollen would be another energy food. The other thing is for mothers, right? I feel that if you are wanting to really intensively look into natural healing and natural health approach for your kids, so these are the 3 resources that you might want to pick up. This is the middle one, the whole food, fresh fruits and vegetable juices, all the concoction, the recipe for different symptoms, different medical conditions, what juice to give, listed there. And this is my another favorite book, How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor, written by a pediatric, well-known pediatric doctor, telling mothers when not to panic, when to send for medical intervention, when not to send for medical intervention and manage from the home. So I hope that gives you the knowledge and the confidence to raise very supple immunity kids and away from drugs. And I hope that this session would give you a lot of confidence and the knowledge of know-how, the practical know-how to start looking into your kitchen, to start using food as the best medication for your child. And you can literally feel the heartbeat of your child telling you, "Mommy, give me a hug, not a drug," because a drug has a lot of side effects, and a lot of kids get very sick as a result of a treatment that are very intoxicating, not helping them at all in their immune system, and they get sicker by the day until they develop a lot of complications. So here we are as parents in New Life, wanting to just share our experience and what we have learned with you. Now, I thought I would just end with this wonderful testimony. I have a good friend who is a medical doctor, a very well-known medical doctor in private practice. So she would always send her patients, patients to see me. One day I got an emergency call from her, this medical doctor, and say, "Okay, can you, Lydia, I have this mother, very panicky right now. The child is admitted to hospital because her skin, she always had eczema, and treatment after treatment, seeing a skin doctor, taking steroids, taking antibiotics. And then one day her skin flared up all around her private part, and she was admitted to the hospital for medical emergency condition, having a scarlet fever. So while she was in the hospital and the doctors were discussing what to do with her and about to give her steroid and heavier medication. So the doctor knows that because I've seen a lot of her patients, and one by one they all actually got well. So she's a very good doctor. She will always tell them, if you come and see me, I can only give you more drugs and more drugs. Why don't I send you to my friend who is a nutritionist? she would teach you how to get well, so that when your child is well, you don't have to keep saying me. How wonderful, right? To see doctors who are very supportive and understand the benefit of nutritional healing. So the mom came to see me, and I just looked into her diet. I looked into her antibiotics. I looked into her steroid treatment, undo all these things through proper nutrition, suggested to the mother Ibuflora, spirulina, flaxseed oil, enzyme to break up the itch and the histamine release, and some vitamin C, grind to powder, because she was so young to swallow tablet, grind to powder, and then put it into her fresh juices, carrot and green apple juice, I remember. And then heal her leaky gut. And within a very short period of time, the mom was managing very well. And you can see that Renee is right now close to 4 years old. Mom just gave birth to a baby boy last year. And you can see that her skin on the top, the top pictures was really, these were not the worst. When she came to see me, her fingers were all broken and then bleeding with the liquid oozing out, highly infected. So I gave her some, the coconut oil, wonder oil, and the castor oil concoction to apply on the eczema skin instead of using chemical cream. The mom said it really works like a charm. So you see that today she's a very, very healthy, a beautiful skin right now. So the mom said, oh, gave birth to second one, a boy, and said, okay, even though their family history of eczema, she feels a lot more confident right now to raise her kids naturally. All right, so with that, I hope that gives you encouragement that even eczema is curable. We have seen many children get well naturally. So before I end, I just want to share with you that I've written a booklet on all the 11 types of commonly seen ailment among children. If you can, try to move to your children towards a natural nutritional healing, and all the details will be given in this booklet. But if you have any questions, you can put in the chat box right now, or take note of all our contact number, information, website, email, or telephone number. We'll be more than happy to have an appointment to meet up with you to discuss anything that you want to, either for adults' health or your children's health. So we are ready. I will just call Susie up to meet up with you. In case you have any questions that you want to ask, please type in the chat box.
Hi, Lydia. Thank you so much for sharing. We have been really blessed that we have seen many wonderful testimonies and successful stories, which will encourage many of us. For myself, Lydia has been with me I've been with her for more than 14 years, and how my children grew up. That's my daughter, Abigail, my oldest, who's pursuing her holistic natural healing. So we are really very, very blessed to have known Lydia, who have helped us in many ways.